I had very little faith that I would be able to pull this off, so naturally I've been avoiding it. However, I'm now at a point where I can't move forward until these bay windows are complete, so I had no choice but to figure it out. I don't know about you, but I've never made a bay window before, so I did what I always do when I'm unfamiliar with something, and I FaceTimed my dad for advice and then had my husband come walk through a couple of ideas to figure out how to make this bay window. And before you ask, yes, it would have been much easier to buy a pre-made bay window. However, this is a remodel and not a new build, so I'm working with what I have, and there are no bay windows on the market that would fit the opening. I ended up deciding to make 3 separate windows, 2 of which would be at an angle for the side windows, and then a bigger window for the centerpiece, and then I added trim on the top and bottom so that I could frame out the entire window without blocking the window panes. Once I installed both of the side windows, I went ahead and added 1/4 inch trim. That way I had something for the center window to sit flush against and make it look like one cohesive window instead of 3 separate windows. I'm sure this video makes this process look so simple, but it really was very confusing, and I had a hard time getting the right measurements, especially for that center window. Once the windows were installed, I went back with my 1/4 inch trim and then just cut pieces to fit to frame out the entire thing. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about the thickness of the trim on the side of the window because that was already there, so I opted to just match the 1/4 inch frames from the rest of the house. And now we're going to have a quick trust the process moment because there is a lot of gapping after I added the frame. However, once I get everything painted, I'm going to come back in with some regular old acrylic latex caulking and fill in all of those gaps. I also transferred the caulking into a regular icing piping bag. That way I had more control over where I was adding it, and I used a scrap piece of wood to smooth it out and make sure everything was filled in correctly. I'm so pleased with the way the bay windows ended up turning out, and I'm ready to move on to the roof and get the rest of this exterior finished. Let me know in the comments what you think, and make sure you're following me to stay up to date on the Harbor Haven remodel.